2016 Radiator Springs Classic Series Radiator Springs Cleanup 5-pack is one that's been on my radar for quite a while now. It's a pack that I've wanted for years because it comes with not one, but two exclusive cars and a third one that I didn't have. And I was so glad to get it this Christmas. Anyway guys, welcome back to yet another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Radiator Springs Cleanup 5-pack from the 2016 Radiator Springs Classic Series. The fact that this review is coming out when it is because it was voted on by you guys. So, if you want to say in what car I'll be reviewing next, make sure to go down to the link in the description and vote on the poll for who I should review next for my Christmas haul. I still have like 8 or 9 cars left there. So yeah, make sure you vote, and whoever gets the most votes before the next review comes out will be the next review. Anyway though, let's take a closer look at this pack. It comes with 5 cars, obviously, because it's a 5-pack, but you know, then again, sometimes Luigi and Guido are counted as one release in multi-packs. And it's a really good pack, I think, because it comes with, as I said before, 2 exclusives, that being the green Ramone with paint gun and the fixed eye variant of Guido with paint rollers, here labeled as just Guido with paint supplies. And it also comes with Tar McQueen, who I actually didn't have. You know, Tar McQueen, who's probably one of the least exciting McQueen variants, because all he is just a regular McQueen, but with the tar stain on him. You know, I feel like if Mattel were to make this car, say they never made Tar McQueen back when they originally did, if they were to make him now, I'm sure they'd give him a different expression. But considering that he first came out in like 2008 or 2009, they really didn't bother. This was back when every single car had the same exact expression, and that definitely was unfortunate for cars like Tar McQueen and Bugmouth McQueen, who are so close to the original McQueen with barely any differences. I think it's really unfortunate that they're also stuck with the same face. And the pack also includes Luigi and Sally, who I already have, but I'll be using them for customs. Now, one of the really interesting things about this pack is the re-release of Guido with paint supplies here. Originally released as a chase lenticular back in 2010 alongside Luigi, who was actually labeled as Luigi with bucket. And then Guido was, I think, Guido with rollers and trays or something along those lines. Now, you can see Luigi on the back of the box is just labeled as Luigi, and Guido is Guido with paint supplies. It's really interesting. I remember a lot of people talking about it when it came out, because this is a pretty big deal, this Guido being re-released, as it was a lenticular chase, and it had gotten pretty expensive by the time that this pack came out. Mattel's rule back when they were doing chases was that chases could never be re-released. But since Guido with paint rollers was only ever released as a lenticular, they found a loophole and released him non-lenticular in this pack. Definitely pretty interesting, and I hope they do that again someday with like Mater with Hood and Mater with the Ghost Light Lamp and other cars like that. Anyway though, taking a closer look at the box, you can see this is the 2016 Radiator Springs Classic packaging. Really prefer this to the packaging they did before in the Radiator Springs Classic series. I really like this light blue coloring. Looks really nice. Got the Radiator Springs Classic logo there, and this image of McQueen. This is the Team RS McQueen, as you can tell by the fact that his secondary sponsors are the Radiator Springs businesses. And, you know, the regular World Grand Prix McQueen doesn't actually have secondary sponsors on him. Moving on to the side, just have the car's logo here with some just generic Radiator Springs Desert, and on this side have more of an open window with some more generic desert. On the back, Lightning McQueen's freshly paved road in the heart of Radiator Springs inspires the townsfolk to brighten up their shops as well. We've got a screenshot from the movie of Guido painting the Costadella tires here as Luigi wipes the windows. Unfortunately, it's not its own unique variant of Luigi. Would have been nice to have Luigi with an antenna and the little wiper, but unfortunately it's just a regular Luigi. We have recreate scenes from the movie. And I think this is a really good pack to do just that. All it really needs is Flo, honestly, because she's there with Ramone and he's painting the building. Or sorry, he's painting the fence of their house, I think it is. So we've got Sally, Tar McQueen, Luigi, Guido with paint supplies, who it seems are still using the lenticular picture of him, and Paint Job Ramone, whose name is just so weird. Of course, to refrain from calling him Ramone with paint gun, they've done several different names for the Ramone variants with paint guns. Nowadays, they don't really make a big deal about the fact that the Ramone has a paint gun. Sometimes they won't even label it anymore. But it used to be that the variants of Ramone with paint guns were the body shop variants. I guess they didn't do that with him here, so Green Ramone with a paint gun is Paint Job Ramone. What a weird name. Alright, so I've taken it out of the box here, and on the bottom you can see just your typical packing. So I'm gonna get all of these guys out of the package and I'll be right back. Alright, so here are the 5 of these guys out of the package, and I just realized something that I forgot to mention earlier. Even though there are 2 exclusive cars in this set, the box doesn't mention that there are any exclusive cars. Nobody's labeled as exclusive or first look. I just thought that was really interesting to point out. Not like that really matters though, I just thought that was interesting. Anyway, let's move these guys out of the way and start by taking a look at Sally. You've all seen Sally. This is the original Sally. Of course, recently she got updated. She has raised eyelids. This is back when some cars had raised eyelids and some didn't. And you can see mine is actually a bit misprinted. The eyelashes, the eyelids should be a little bit further down to line up better. But, you know, just looking at this Sally now, after we've gotten all these other, better, more accurate Sallys, it really makes me realize just how inaccurate this original Sally was. Her eyes are really small and beady. I'd say her expression is definitely very off and just doesn't look like an expression Sally would have. Her color is off, her shaping is off. Her headlights aren't even detailed. I'm so glad that they eventually gave us this updated Sally and the Precision Series Sally and other variants. You see you've got the Porsche logo there. Nothing really of note. Just going to quickly spin her around a bit since you've all seen Sally and we have more interesting cars to get to. Got the Carrara logo there and her license plate which says California 301 PCE. Here's her other side. Even her wheels on the original were inaccurate. And there is a look at her base. Now let's move on to Tar McQueen. Just for comparison, here is my original regular McQueen. See that this guy has been updated with the Rusty's logo on the back. And really, the only other notable change between the two is the tar on him. I'll say this McQueen is a bit more of a vibrant red, but that might just be because I've had this one for 14.5 years now. Yeah, really nothing too different between these two guys. I will say, even though the Sally in the set and the Luigi in the set have raised eyelids, the Tar McQueen, interestingly, doesn't. Got the Rusty's Medicated Bumper Ointment Rear End Formula logo there on his hood. We have the Tar splotch itself covering up all of Lightning's Lucky sticker there on the side. And we have the other Lucky sticker there as well, the 95 over the headlight. And just your typical McQueen details. We've got piston cup, nitro weight, revolting, mood springs, octane gain, Vitaline, no stall, gaskets and gas burn, easy idle. Down here we've got little turkey pistons, RPM, leakless, retread, and clutch aid. The 95 there. Lightning McQueen signature up top. 95 up top as well. Rusty's on the back. Another Rusty's logo there. The Medicated Bumper Ointment slogan, of course, on his rookie stripe. There is his other side. And there is his base. Now, moving on to one of the more interesting cars here, Guido with paint supplies, and also Luigi, who again in the original release was Luigi with bucket, but here Guido just gets to have all the paint supplies, which honestly makes more sense. So here is the paint bucket itself, and I've got to say, really disappointed with the quality of this accessory. Now, I know it's originally from 2010, and this was just a re-release of it, but I really don't know what's going on with it. The paint, as you can see, is dripping, overflowing across the side. This is very clearly a sticker, but the top isn't even painted the same color as the paint. So is the lid on the bucket? Yeah, the lid's on, or no. Actually, I'm not sure if the lid's supposed to be on the bucket. You can see the handle there is attached to the sides, but definitely not really the best accessory, I don't think. Just strange that the top isn't colored in any way. So really weird accessory. Definitely pretty cheap. But I really like the paint trays here, which also have the paint dripping across the sides, which I gotta say does look pretty cartoony, but then again, this is an animated movie about cars with faces. But I really like this. You can see The paint on the inside, it's detailed, it's textured, it's overflowing over the sides. I really like how these turned out. And Guido should be able to, yep, the rollers fit in there perfectly, which is really nice. And the paint color is the same on both the rollers and in the trays. I'm taking a closer look at this Guido. He has one of the two expressions from the lenticular, the one where he's looking down and smiling. He's just got all of your typical Guido details, really nothing of note aside from these two paint rollers that are attached to the ends of his forks so that he can paint whatever he wants to paint. And there's a look at his base. There we go. There used to be a lot of copyright information on these guys around 2016. I don't think there's as much now. Wow, there's a lot on the bottom of Guido. Moving on to Luigi. It's just your typical Luigi. I don't know how many times I've reviewed just the regular old Luigi, because I have so many regular Luigis and regular Guidos. But I'm excited to be repainting this Luigi into a new custom. It's definitely a bit of a brighter yellow than some of my other Luigis, but again, that could just be, because of the age of the Luigi or what year it was made. Got your typical Luigi expression. It has the black border around Luigi's eyes, which all Luigis have had, starting with the release of Cars 2. Then they started doing it for normal Luigi in 2013. Got the mustache there, his lights, big old grin. Got, of course, the roof there resembling his hair, his white wall tires, and his license plate, 445-108. Of course, a reference to, I believe, the Ferrari manufacturing plant. So nice Easter egg there. There's a look at Luigi's base. And finally, we have the strangely named Paint Job Ramone, who, of course, is a variant of Green Ramone. And I really think out of the two, this guy is definitely the superior Green Ramone. He's got a much more accurate color scheme compared to the older Green Ramone, and I just think he generally looks nicer. So just looking at how much better this guy looks than the original, in my opinion, I'm really excited for the 2021 Green Ramone update, which hopefully is closer to this guy. And one of the nicest things about all of these more recent Ramone variants, including those updates they've been doing for the last few years, is they all have different expressions. The original Ramones, for the first few years they were making them, all just had the same face. And I really like the new expressions they keep giving all the new Ramones. This one is so expressive and it's really in character. This just looks like a face that Ramone would make. I really think they've done a great job improving the expressions for all of these characters over the years. You've got all of your typical detailing of Green Ramone, some interesting changes in color across the two of these guys. His mouth seems to be a bit more open, or actually no, it's just colored in and this one isn't, but I think the expression of his mouth might be a little different. Moving on to the side, we have the paint gun itself. Basically your typical paint gun mold. I'd assume this is the same as a lot of the other ones that they've done. Just got more of your regular Green Ramone detailing on the side. It's really difficult to describe the designs on Green Ramone. Since this is a newer Ramone, he has that Radiator Springs logo in his back window, or rather behind his back window. His license plate reads low and slow as per usual. There is a look at his other side. And there is a look at his base. And that is the Radiator Springs Cleanup 5-pack. A really great pack with some great exclusive cars. Really is a shame that we haven't been getting that many new cars in 5-packs lately. I think this one is a really great example of a really great 5-pack. I love how well all of these cars flow together. They're all from the same scene in the movie. They all make sense to be in the pack. The exclusive cars are great. I think it's a really great pack. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, make sure to vote in the poll in the description for who you want to see me review next. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.